Avoid the three biggest cold email mistakes made by 99% of B2B business owners and how to fix. I'm Isaac Wood and I operate Lever Growth. We're a B2B cold email agency and we run cold email campaigns that book 30 or more meetings every single month. We've closed over 24 high-paying clients using direct response cold outreach. And I've helped these clients add 5 to 15 high-quality sales calls to their calendar every single month on autopilot. That has ultimately driven hundreds of thousands of revenue. Here's a couple of screenshots from our operating system just to show you what that looks like. In terms of recent results, one of our clients, they're a CRO agency. They've tried cold email themselves, resulted in a lot of burned calories, no actual results. They were getting no meetings per month. They brought us on to fix their process. We ran their cold email. We worked their offer. And so now we've worked together to close over 6 high-ticket deals directly from our cold email outreach. Now, it took a couple months of iteration to figure out what worked, but once we dialed it in, we got a lot of really great results. So I say this to show you that it can be done with iteration, patience, and a little bit of sauce. So here's a little more proof to just show you that I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. So, another client pumped about the results, another client showing how our scripts were helping them book a bunch of meetings and they're scaling their outreach. So let's dive into it. Why cold email matters, even if people doesn't think it works for them. So let's just talk high level numbers here. So in terms of email revenue globally, it's expected to reach 17.9 billion by 2027. And 77% of B2B buyers prefer to be reached by email over any other channel. And 99% of email users check their email every single day. 37% of brands are increasing their email budget this year. So that just indicates there's a lot of forward momentum in email outreach. So we got to meet the decision makers where they're at. So it's going to be hard finding a CEO scrolling their Insta feed or just brain rotting on YouTube Shorts. It's going to be much more likely to find them in their email inbox. And so if you just think about it, like, do you think you'd be able to reach out to 50% of CEOs and contact at least one of them and get them to respond? I would say it's probable if your offer is good enough. So, however, some people who try cold email or are operating cold email campaigns on a regular basis oftentimes don't even know what they're doing. And that's because they're trying to figure out what is actually working. The reason why is it's their strategy. So what I'm going to cover in this video is going to get you much closer to getting results with cold email. As I mentioned before, we've sent over 1.7 million cold emails. We've learned quite a bit from that. In today's video, I'm going to reveal the 3 biggest mistakes that B2B and agency owners are making with their cold email campaigns, how to fix them, and the exact frameworks that we use so you can go ahead and try to get the same results. Now, I've condensed my learnings across 4 years of cold email experience, over 1.7 cold emails sent. And this is the exact strategy that we use to help our roster of over 24 clients generate 5 to 15 qualified calls a month, as I had mentioned. So businesses that we work with, software, email marketing agencies, CRO, organic content, lead gen, paid ads, B2B marketing broadly, insurance, recruiting, runs the gamut. So if I give you all this information in the next 20 minutes, all I'm asking for is an exchange for your attention. So does that sound fair? Now, if you think it's a good investment of your time, then let's dive into it. So to get results with cold email, your system needs to be in the top 1%. So to most, this means having the entire cold email funnel in place, which means deliverability, which means lead list, which means campaign copy. That is correct, but it's only partially true. And the reason why, it's the minimum requirement for any cold email campaign, and it's not going to set you apart. Now, there are actually 3 additional things that will set you apart from the rest of the market who are trying to figure this out. The 3 biggest mistakes are not having a cold traffic friendly offer, not using lead magnets to add value, and not using a video sales letter or a VSL to build trust. So mistake number 1, having a bad offer. So the number 1 thing that people get wrong with cold email starts before sending a single cold email. They don't have a cold friendly offer. Most people make this mistake because they conflate or mix up services and offers. Alex Hormozy from $100 million Offers coined this phrase, but an offer is the starting point of any conversation to initiate a transaction with a customer. So offers are simply the result that the prospect gets, and services are what you do as a business. So cold traffic will buy an offer, right? So they're not going to buy services because there's just so many different options out there vying for their attention. Why would they pick yours? Most will try to sell something like, hey, we do branding, we do advertising for a specific niche, a vague or broad promise. It might work with referrals or word of mouth because you're already trustworthy, you're in network, and somebody's already problem aware and they know that you solve that problem. Cold traffic is a completely different beast altogether. And the reason why is the competition is stiff. You have to overcome substantial skepticism. You need to establish like actual pain points and value, just to name a few. Now, a great offer is one that moves the primary prospect away from their pain. It gives you a very clear expected outcome, specifically solving that pain, and minimizes the risk associated with engaging with your offer, right? So in other words, you need to make an offer they'd be silly saying no to. So these are two stickmen. Cold prospect A, I'm getting sold a bunch of different services. I can't differentiate the two. And then cold prospect B is this offers a clear expected outcome and minimizes my risk. I think I'm going to take them up on this. Right. So the problem with so many offers is they're not actually offers. People are going to give information about their business. They're going to ramble on about their features in their messaging, but they often forget that you just have like 5 seconds to catch their attention. This email below is a perfect example, and it really just drones on. It's clearly written by AI. People aren't stupid. Their bullshit detector is like on high alert all the time. Don't talk about your service. Just talk about the dream result that you can help them get, right? So we create offers specifically to showcase this, right? So we're helping to reduce risk, increase trust, especially with cold outbound prospects. Now, this is what it looks like. I'm not even going to click into it because it's so bad, but I'll share the doc in the video description and you can take a look there. So what you want to do here is reverse engineer the end state. So to develop an offer that has an actual quantifiable result that gets them to their ideal state, you need to have intimate knowledge of your prospect, right? So like, what does that mean? In other words, what do they want to achieve? What do they fear? What have they tried in the past? What do they want to avoid? So you think through these questions, look back at sales calls, do customer research if you don't know. And once you know your ideal prospect, what they care about, you can develop your offer as an optimized way for cold traffic, right? So make sure you're first solving a problem that's A, worth solving, and then B, you want to prove you can solve it by substantiating it with case studies, testimonials. Best case, you have a video testimonial interview with your client. Now, what this does, again, minimizes the risk by fulfilling the service as quickly as possible and making it as seamless as possible for the prospect to deliver value. So, right, next step, how to make an offer. So how do you actually make a good offer? Hormozi, touch on him again, gives the blueprint with the value equation that he made popular in his book, $100 Million Offers. So this is the value formula here, but the numerator or the top of the equation includes the dream outcome. So that's the problem that is the problem your solution solves for, and the perceived likelihood of achievement. So that's the likelihood you're actually able to solve the problem. The denominator or the bottom of the equation includes time delay. In other words, how long until you actually get results, and the effort and sacrifice. In other words, how much does the prospect give to get results in terms of time, money, effort, and status? So your main goal here is to maximize the numerator and minimize the denominator. So in other words, like how can you maximize the potential reward of working together and minimize the potential downside risk? So getting super, super specific here is going to maximize your upside or your potential reward. So why does the value equation work? A great offer maximizes the gain, minimizes the overall risk. We're going to break it down here. So dream outcome, maximize the dream by quantifying what they can expect to achieve. So this means providing a specific result, like number of leads generated, number of meetings booked, improved conversions by a specific percentage, lowered cost per acquisition, and increased sales by a certain number, right? So it can be this specific. It can also be the specific deliverable you'll be delivering in terms of the number of ads created or the number of videos scripted and edited or a specific customized blueprint for their business. Now, the outcome needs to be both valuable and incredibly clear, or the prospect will not buy. In general, though, the more painful the prospect's pain, the more valuable it is, and the more likely you are able to push them down and closer to making a sale. So the next one here is perceived likelihood of achievement, right? So maximize the prospect's perceived likelihood of achieving that dream outcome by proving you can do what you do by providing your track record, right? So this means showing case studies and other proof that you've actually been able to generate the result that you're claiming. The prospect will not buy unless they truly believe that it's not just possible, but that you actually can do it and execute and solve their problem, right? So if the risk of the purchase outweighs the likelihood of getting the result, then the prospect will not buy. You can mitigate this with guarantees or other risk reversals if you have less social proof. So in general, right, like what are the chances that the result are actually going to occur? So let's talk time delay. So give the prospect a time frame for which they can expect the result to be generated. You got to make it super clear. So the shorter the time horizon, all else equal, the better. A shorter time horizon, all else equal, is going to be better because you can get results faster. You can have time to value more quickly, but just make sure that you're actually able to fulfill on that promise. Might sound obvious, but some people need to be told anyway. So expectation setting is one of the biggest factors in customer happiness. Even if you end up getting a great result, but it takes 50% longer than expected, then the client's not going to be happy. So you can see how making sure you're not overclaiming is going to be more enticing, but it's going to be lower believability and it's going to negatively impact your ability to close. So just make sure you mitigate this by providing a clear timeline to get results. Faster the time to value, the better. So effort and sacrifice. So every single prospect has different needs specifically related to your service, right? So someone done for you, someone done with, someone do it themselves. Ideally, you have an offer for different levels of the service. Whether it's done for you or do it yourself, the prospect will still want to know exactly how much effort they're going to have to put in to get the result. Is this going to take me one day, period? Is this going to take me an hour a day? Is this going to take me an hour a week? Like, what's that look like? They also want to make sure that they're not sacrificing too much in terms of time, money, energy relative to the potential upside. So again, if that risk outweighs the potential gain, then not going to close. All right, so a little bonus here. You want to add risk reversals, a guarantee, performance-based offer, implicit guarantees, a risk reduction offer. So in other words, that's just giving them something that is free work, free audit, give them some of the deliverable to just give them a taste. It's like a sample at Costco, right? That's going to help reduce the overall risk, give them a sense for what the actual outcome is like or what the delivery looks like. And in general, you want to decrease the spread between your potential gain and your risk. And the closer that is, the more likely you're going to make the sale. Now let's talk offers and the formula and how to actually build it. So keep the value equation in mind and just use this basic formula to come up with your first offer that is ideal for cold email, right? So we help a specific vertical achieve a quantifiable result in a specific time frame with whatever your mechanism is, and then add some kind of risk reversal. Hey, we do performance pricing, we have for guarantees. That would be an example. So here's some more. So we help agencies add 10 to 15 qualified calls to their calendar every single month with performance-based cold email outreach. Next one would be we help e-commerce brands add 30% more revenue from their existing list every single month by sending daily emails. We help funded SaaS rework their ads to be their control by 10%. We'll guarantee you get an improvement of a certain percent in the first 30 days, or you'll get a free refund in writing. So this last one includes a guarantee. Let's move on to mistake number 2, and that's not using a lead magnet. So the second most common mistake I see in people who want to crush it with cold email but can't seem to get great results is going for the sale in the initial email, right? So in other words, most people are not engaging with a high quality lead magnet first. And so to understand my point, first consider your own mindset when you're inside your inbox, right? Most of the time you're checking your email, you're not actively looking to buy something. You're not scrolling thinking, wow, I hope I can get a cold email selling me XYZ thing, right? You're really just trying to make sure you're not missing anything important, trying to get your inbox down to zero. And so because your prospects, your audience are totally reactive, and so many people are vying for their attention, two things are happening here. One, they have super high resistance to the number of inbound requests asking them of something, right? So, hey, can I have your time? Can I get your energy? Can I get some money? Can I get any of your resources, right? Putting people on a high alert. Second one is they're experiencing decision-making fatigue from inbound requests. So trying to decide what is worth responding to, what can be ignored, and what is ultimately essential. So instead, jolt people out of their stupor. The way you do this, highly valuable lead magnets. What is a lead magnet? A lead magnet is a value-based asset that you can use to engage with your prospects to build intent over time. So a high-quality lead magnet is an end-to-end solution for a minor problem set that gives free value to the prospect. There are many different forms of lead magnets, but one rule rings true, and that is following the VAR formula. So VAR, value, actionable, readable. Value, would you pay $50 for this lead magnet? Two, actionable, can they implement your lead magnet's plan within 24 hours? And is it readable? So in other words, can they consume it easily? Overall, a lead magnet needs to be good, all else equal, and it should naturally lead to the next step in the sales conversation. A couple examples for lead magnets include detailed end-to-end tutorial, a Loom video, a case study video, a free trial, and a webinar invite. So why are they actually so effective? They're effective because they establish you as an expert in your field and someone who can legitimately solve their problems. A good lead magnet should maximize value as defined by the value equation in Alex Hormozi's $100 million offer. So the numerator includes the dream outcome and the perceived likelihood of achievement. The denominator includes the time delay and effort and sacrifice. And so again, like you're trying to maximize the numerator and minimize the denominator. And so with a lead magnet, you're going to show them the dream outcome, show them how quickly it can happen, and show them the likelihood of it actually happening because you're giving it to them basically. And then the denominator shows, all right, well, how long can this expect to take? You're giving it to them so they can do it quickly on their own. And in terms of effort and sacrifice, they can then read through it and say, okay, this might take me a while. I'm going to just hire this guy to do it for me anyway. So in terms of like utility, it's just what is the actual value that they're getting from something, right? So a good lead magnet solves for each of these. So the lead magnet clearly provides an expected dream outcome that helps them avoid their current bad state. So the prospect will identify with the dream outcome because they want to get away from that pain. So the likelihood of achievement. So what this means is the lead magnet shows them the step-by-step process to actually get the result, which provides the utility there. So if your prospect does implement your plan and they can get value from it, even if it's just a small section of it, they're going to be much more likely to buy from you because you've already proven you can help them. That's why things like free trials work. In terms of time to success, the lead magnet delivers value immediately and can be implemented within a short time frame, ideally 24 hours. And the faster the prospect realizes value, the more value they will actually perceive the lead magnet to contain. So the last one here is effort and sacrifice. So the lead magnet will reduce the effort and sacrifice required of the prospect by showing them exactly what to do in exactly what order. This helps them go from A to Z, and it minimizes the decision-making load and just gets them right to the goal line. Now, how do you actually do this? How do you build a lead magnet? The goal here is to have a plan for them to follow, right? So this means a step-by-step guide, A to Z. If it takes 1,000 steps necessary for them to get the result, include 1,000 steps. There's no minimum, there's no maximum, but the key is just they need to derive extreme utility from the asset, which means it needs to be extremely clear and written in plain English or spoken in plain English, ideally. If they implement your plan and they get value from it, they're gonna be much more likely to buy from you, right? So this is just a basic example of how cold email could look in terms of lead magnets, right? You could do one on deliverability, on lead list building, on copywriting, inbox management, long-term nurture, appointment setting. And you can reverse engineer this for your own service as well. So in terms of what a lead magnet should include is an intro, what to do, why they should do it, what they need to do, and the exact steps to get the result. And so this is how you would actually use it in outreach. So say you've built it already, that's all well and good, but like how do you actually implement this? the way that you do this is you don't just send it to every single person on your list. If they don't want it, they're not going to engage on it, and it's going to waste your efforts, and there's lower intent there anyway. So instead, what you should do is use direct response principles. Ask the prospect if they want to see it. Once they say yes, you have your intent, and then you can follow up and just nurture them ongoing, right? So an example of this is, hey, Mr. Prospect, would you be interested in seeing a step-by-step guide showing you exactly how to build a lead list to book 30 plus meetings per month with your ideal client without having to figure out web scraping or use expensive tools? At that point, the prospect says yes, and then you can reply and say, hey, check this out. This is how you achieve the result. Once you've had a chance to review, open to hopping on a quick call to discuss how we can help you achieve the result. Super simple framework. It is very effective. And again, if they don't book in that meeting, that's okay. Just keep following up with them. But the key here, right, breaking it down is what is the expected outcome? So the 30 meetings per month, and who is it for? You have the ideal client. And this is, getting rid of the icky bad thing, which is the effort and sacrifice that they would hope to avoid. All right, so a couple examples of lead magnets. We have case studies, or what was the client's problem before working with you? What were the exact steps taken to achieve the results? And the quantifiable results after actually working together. This is going to be very impactful, especially if you have a video testimonial interview where you're actually live with the client, asking them these questions live. And then also have a written breakdown of it as well, so you can meet the prospect where they're at, right? So they can read it if they're available, or they can watch the video if they're available, and then make sure it's optimized for mobile as well. Another one here, Loom audit. This can be just pre-recorded, breaking down why they should care, what your process is, and the results that you generate, and call that like 3 to 5 minutes. And then the last one here is just an end-to-end solution. So again, we just put one out for cold email setup. So A to Z, every single step to take in order to get your campaign completely off the ground. And this is the example, and you can find this in the doc. Mistake number 3, not having a VSL. So most people do not recognize the importance of having a VSL. They avoid it usually because they fear looking silly on camera, or they don't like the way they sound, or they're just afraid of getting judged by others. These are ultimately self-limiting beliefs. I've seen 50% increases in conversion, even more in some cases, when a client has a VSL versus those who do not. It's simply something that needs to be done if you want to convert cold traffic, period. If you want uncommon results, you need uncommon efforts, and to do something that others are unwilling or afraid to do. This is going to set you apart in business and life in general. Just do it. So the point of a VSL is to get the prospect to take the next step. So you want to create a connection with your audience using a VSL. So what you're trying to do is just build enough rapport with them to get them into the sales call or whatever that next step is, right? So then you can ultimately run your sales call. Your VSL will break down your offer, who it's for, the exact steps in your process, and any social proof, and also include a call to action. Again, you only need them to take one step. Do this by starting with a simple 3-minute video. Over time, you'll build out more VSLs for different parts of your funnel. But just remember that this is just build it once. It lives on your landing page, and it sells 24/7. Anytime you have traffic directed to it, people can watch it. On our landing page, it's the #1 most clicked element, period. So remember, do it once, infinitely replicable. Now, building VSLs are going to be a skill like any other, which means it takes practice, it takes trial and error and iteration to get really, really good. But the bright side is, just in order to get your first one out, it only takes a couple hours. So why does it actually work? In simple terms, it's because of a parasocial relationship is created between you and your viewer. So look at your own favorite creators, right? If you've watched enough of their content, if you watch anybody on TV, anybody on YouTube at all, and you are a fan of theirs, or at least you think they're cool, you probably feel like you know them to some degree. And if you don't feel like you know them, you probably at least trust them or trust what they have to say. This exact same principle applies to you and your audience, no matter how small or niche it is. This is why it's absolutely essential to have a VSL, to start posting content online, to start existing online, period. Because if you don't exist online and you're a ghost, then nobody can do any research on you and you might as well not exist. This is the framework for a basic VSL. Include your intro, what they should do, why they should do it, how they will do it, and then the exact actionable plan they should follow. And then the last one there is your offer, AKA your call to action, get them to take the next step. And the most important part of this is to emphasize the importance of each step in the process, right? So if they don't think it's important, they're not going to have any incentive into watching to the end, which is going to dramatically reduce the chances of them listening to your call to action. So remember, the goal here is not to close them over the video. The goal is really to just get them hooked, get them to start believing that it can work for them, and then use your sales call to actually close the deal. This is an example from one of the goats of internet marketing, Cole Gordon. Take a look at that as a phenomenal example of a VSL. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, in fact, enjoy it, I'd love to hear what you would like to see more of in the comments below. If you didn't, if you thought this was total shit, if you thought it wasn't a very good video, you want me to do something else, let me know with that too. I love the feedback, just trying to iterate, get better, and put out some fire banger content. But anyway, grateful y'all, and I will see you in the next video.